Hello and welcome to Straight Talk's review of day one here at Magic Millions on the Gold Coast. My name's Bren O'Brien and joining me is Tim Rowe. This podcast, of course, sponsored by Inglis and Darley. Tim, we've got through day one. Yeah, probably pretty straightforward day. There's a couple of highlights, but fairly solid market. And I think Magic Millions and most of the vendors would walk away relatively pleased with how things panned out.
Oh, I would agree with that, Bren. There's always a bit of pessimism leading in, particularly how people are how much risk they're prepared to take and speculate. But today I thought it was fair trade. Of course, there'd be horses that didn't sell or sold for unders, and some that breeders got very well paid. But I think it sets it up for a solid Magic Million sale, and probably for the season to come for those nice horses. This is a select sale catalogue, so there's a lot of nice horses. They should be well paid, but yeah, solid day's trade is fair commentary.
Yeah, and the highlights there were $3 million lots. We had the colt by Frankel out of on teams go for $2 million to Tom Magnier. We had an extreme choice colt out of Dame Giselle. So yes, go to Waller Racing and Guy Mulcaster of $1.2 million, and the I'm Invincible filly out of Avantage, Celtic Entry, Thoroughbreds and Badgers Bloodstock for $1.05 million. Obviously, the highlight lot there is clearly the $2 million lot. Frankel is such a stallion. He commands such intention, doesn't he, Tim? And yeah, it was a good result, and a good result for one of the Australian industry's more significant breeders in John Camilleri.
As we'll hear from John in a minute, but he's got the money to do it, but he wants to focus on quality and buys a lot of really well-bred mares and races a lot of nice fillies and sends them all around the world to the best stallions he can. And that's why he gets good results, in the sale ring, and importantly, breeds good horses. And of course, Winks is number one on that list. But yeah.
And here's what John had to say about the sale of this very, very pricey colt.
I did notice John, you were babysitting mid-bidding there. Pretty calm, I would suggest.
Well, you've got your priorities, right? And my 2-year-old grandson's more important than any horse sale. So, yeah, you're right.
Yeah.
What's his name?
Harry.
Yeah. Oh, it's a big commitment sending him out all the way to the Northern Hemisphere.
Yes.
Sending it to Franklin.
Yeah, it's expensive exercise. It's risky. I sent a lot of mares over, but you normally only get 1 or 2 shots at the world's best stallion, and I thought I'd roll the dice.
Yeah. Certainly paid off anyway.
Well, yeah, that certainly paid a lot of the bills, without a doubt.
Yeah.
It's not the first time you've done this, obviously, sending, Winks' family to Deep Impact in Japan. You do follow global bloodlines.
Yeah, I do. I mean, I'm only interested in having a small broodmare band and breeding elite horses. I don't want hundreds and thousands of animals. So if I think there's something available like a Deep Impact or a Frankel and, you've got the right mare for them, and I simply don't hesitate. Cost becomes secondary then.
Right. Okay, so she was on race. So what made you think she was the right mare to send to Frank?
Oh, she had a great pedigree. She was a beautiful type. She had a lot of ability. She had an injury, so we didn't race her. Anthony Friedman, who's a good judge, said, this fella can run. I said, well, no point. If she's impaired, we'll just put her to start. So, and her first foal takes place for her. He ran second in the Maloney, I think, in Flemington. So I think the mare's going to do it. She's by Lonhro. So ticks a lot of boxes, so I thought she deserved a trip on a plane to Frankel.
Do you remain confident that you've invested a lot of money at the top end to play at the top end for a long time, and that's where the bloodstock industry's heading here, that it's very tough below that, I guess?
It appears to be getting tougher and tougher below that. But a long time ago, I thought, I just want to, it's a bit like waterfront land. It's always in demand. It tends to stay up. It doesn't go through the troughs. And I'll only have a small broodmare band because there aren't that many elite mares you can have at that level. That's where I want to play. And look, others been very successful playing at different levels, and it's a matter of choice.
The following segment is brought to you by Inglis. The English Premier Yearling Sale catalogue is now available online. From March 1st to 3rd, Oaklands Junction in Melbourne will once again serve as the focal point of the bloodstock world, with 806 yearlings catalogued across 3 days of selling. This year's catalogue features progeny from 110 individual stallions. The Premier Sale has consistently produced racetrack success. Graduates include the past 3 winners of the Everest offered at public auction, Ballina Patina, Think About It, and Nature Strip, as well as 34 Group 1 winners since 2018, with 16 purchased for $100,000 or less. English Premier Yearling Sale runs March 1 to 3 at Oaklands Junction in Melbourne. To view the catalogue, visit english.com. Yeah, so I think overall, like as we mentioned before, things were pretty solid. There was a lot of different buyers in the market. We had a good chat with Barry Bowditch, Magic Millions Managing Director Barry Bowditch, after the conclusion of the day's play. And yeah, I mean, you know, we'll go to Barry in a minute, but you know, he just makes the point out that the diversity of the buyers, you know, the fact it wasn't dominated by, you know, a lot of $1 million lots or a lot of buyers, a lot of purchaser from single buyers, all that sort of stuff. It points to a fairly healthy market and people with plenty of money to spend for the rest of the week, Tim.
And looking at our, you know, the media gets sent a list of likely top lots. That doesn't always pan out exactly, but naturally there's a smaller day today, but there's a lot more probably bolded horses, we'll call them, to come. So it wasn't like day one was stacked with the perceived to be the best horses. So it does bode well for what's to come.
Yeah, and there's probably a couple other aspects about today too. It was interesting having a chat with Stefan Party, who's running a sort of a global equine fund, which is, you know, driving investment, and they're intending on buying 100 horses this year across, you know, yearling, weanling, and bredmare sales, which is significant investment. And there were a few other sort of, you know, players sort of, you know, working in the market as well. There's plenty to talk about. And as I said, we caught up with Barry Bowditch from Magic Millions and had a chat about how the day panned out.
I think it's been a really pleasing day for Magic Millions. I think, you know, whether it be, I thought the vibe, you know, when I come back from the barrier draw this morning, when you walked in here, you know, I thought, I got back here around 10 o'clock and I thought the stand was almost full. It had a really good feel about it. I thought the sale got off to a really, really solid start. I think it's a really genuine market. I think, you know, the vendors that are, you know, very, very motivated to meet the market are getting their horses sold. I was talking to the auctioneers to go through the day, and they were sort of commenting on, you know, the amount of horses once they reached reserve that were going on and making reserve plus. So, you know, that's always a great sign that there's genuine competition out there. You know, the statistics themselves to sort of be sitting at 78% on day one, you know, a median of 200, an average of 285, are all numbers that were within my expectations. But in saying that, pleased with how we went. I thought today's sale was probably something we'll build upon. I feel as if the lists out there from the market are longer over the next couple of days, which is nice to hear. And I think, you know, the market found its feet today. There's good confidence there, and it'll build upon itself as the, you know, the lots go by.
The level of interest, Barry, from, you know, just the depth of buyers, you know, there's quite a variety of buyers. Didn't appear to be anyone, you know, spending a fortune on day one and dominating.
No, I think there was some, you know, 4 buyers that bought 5 lots each, and that was the maximum number by any one buyer, you know. So I think that just shows there's a really good spread. I think there's 97 different entities on the list thus far. So, you know, when you've sold, what have we sold? Some 144 lots, and you got 97 different, you know, it's a good start. It means that everyone's getting a turn, but no one's taking over the market. And you'd think most of those guys that have played today have not played to anywhere near the end of what they're expecting to do by the end of the week. So, you know, it should continue to travel on in a solid trajectory.
You said leading in that the clearance rate would be pivotal. That's what you'd be sort of guided by to try and match last year's, and you know, we've hit $40 million trade. How have you seen it? Are you happy with that?
Yeah, look, you know, I had expectations probably midway through the day that would be landing at 80% or somewhere around there. So, you know, we're just off that at 78%. It won't take a lot to move the dial to have that at 80% before we start tomorrow. So I'm hopeful that we'll start play tomorrow at around 80%, if not better, and which I'm pleased about, and that gives us something to build upon tomorrow. But I felt as if there was good momentum out there. There was great positivity. It felt like a really genuine market with everyone being, you know, happy and confident and playing their part. And I think that sets us up, as I've said, for a pleasing book one.
What about the top lot, the highest price Frankel colt? So as a yearling in Australia, did you think he'd get to that sort of territory?
Oh, I thought from the time I saw him in August, he was a 7-figure horse. He's always been an outstanding animal with a good pedigree of a great farm, bred by an unbelievable breeder and a great supporter of the sale. You know, you need 2 to tango, and I was pleased that Coolmore and Suro and Glen, there was plenty of others there, you know, in the 7 figures, but I was pleased that they sat down to battle it out there near the end, and I thought $2 million was a great result for him. But in saying that, you know, unbelievable looking Frankel with a great pedigree, you know, just think if he wins the right races, he's priceless, but whether it be here or back up north. Yeah.
The following segment is brought to you by Darley. When the spring carnival wrapped up, the picture was clear. Darley Stallions topped the table with 42 stakes wins, well ahead of imported horses and those bred in New Zealand. Almost 30 victories were delivered by client-bred runners, showing strength from early 2-year-olds to elite Group 1 races. Consistency, depth and performance when it mattered most. By Darley. And so, Tim, we turn forward to day 2, as Barry mentioned it there, and, clearly some strong lots to come, Wednesday, so tomorrow our time. At the moment, the demand around Snitzel's as strong as ever. The late great Snitzel, he's got at least 3 colts there tomorrow, which are very well highly rated. I'm Invincible. Philly as well, expected to do well out of Key. And, and we saw Stay Inside and also, Home Affairs also performed quite well last year. Second crop's obviously a bit of a different story, but, it looks like from what we're seeing on the expected top lots that, we can expect to stay inside there, lot 300 to do quite well as well.
Yeah, and just on the 372, the Snitzel colt, that's the brother to Beedman, who won the Roman Consul, and obviously a very talented sprinter for China Horse Club and Newgate and Peter Snowden. So he's going to be, assuming the vetting's all good, that he'll be very, very popular. Yeah, and all the major players, I'm sure, are looking at him.
Yeah. And it's just interesting. There's also a couple of Animos on the list tomorrow. We saw the first Animo sell today for $525,000. Stefan Party, I mentioned earlier, bought that colt. But the view on the Animos is quite interesting from what we're hearing, Tim, around them. As we mentioned yesterday, there's sort of a bit in there for everybody. They're not. They're not all the same. There's a bit of difference between them in terms of the types they are, but that quality and stuff sort of stands out as well. So it's it'd be interesting to see. He's obviously the marquee first season side. A lot of focus is on, and I guess it probably takes a couple of days so we get probably a clear view of how the rest of these sort of, or how he and the rest of the first season sides are sort of being received by the market.
For sure, and I'd say Jacquino at Widdenstud's worth a mention there. He had 5 sell today and averaged 312,000, and talking to a few different people that bid on them and didn't even get close. So obviously it was a very good racehorse for Mick Price, and Qatar Racing, who were active today buying, also bought into that horse and raced him and sent him at Widden, and obviously the buyers like what they're seeing at the moment.
Indeed they are, and we'll probably see more of it coming forward. Okay, thanks for listening to us on Straight Talk, our daily edition here of Magic Millions, brought to you by Inglis and Darley. Send us an email if you at editor@straight.com.au if you're interested in what we're doing and want to give us a bit of feedback or suggest any people you might want to speak to. We'll provide daily updates throughout the sale until the conclusion on Friday, and looking forward to catching up with you then, and we'll talk to you tomorrow.